So God wants me to give you my testimony. I have such a long past. I have been through so much crazy stuff. From being condemned to the lake of fire for years of suffering and torture with demons, to being through group homes, to being kidnapped and fleeing the country with my mom away from Children's Aid, having a heroin addict, coke addict brother, being beat up, picked on, spit on, rejected by all women, made to be an outcast no matter where I went, not being able to escape my enemies. Even to this day, it's very hard for me to make friends because I'm different. I'm not like other people. I don't know what makes me different. God told me once, there's something that I never gave up growing up. And people can see it in my eyes. And for some reason, I get targeted quite a bit. Anyway, my testimony basically, I did a lot of witchcraft. I did a lot of bad things growing up because I felt like it was the only way that I could survive. And I paid for it really, really bad. I really paid for it. And I suffered for years, begging God for just a chance. I tried to become the Antichrist, if you really want to know. I did witchcraft all the time, drew pentagrams everywhere, did evil, corrupted people, helped people corrupt other people. I did drugs. I didn't always start out this way, though. I started out a really good kid. And I guess people just didn't like me because I was a good kid. And they wanted to hurt me and put me down and make fun of me because I wasn't part of the bad side of life, if you will. And they really hurt me, man. A lot of where I went spiritually in darkness and witchcraft is basically because I had nowhere else to go. There was nothing I could do. I didn't know God was loving and loved me and wanted to help me and help me grow and I could have a promising life. And a lot of people don't know that. And because of that, we choose the wrong path. We get addicted to drugs. We hang out with the wrong people out of acceptance, to find a mate, to get married. And the society and drugs and corruption ends up taking us down the wrong path and we lose everything. I still remember being in high school and the girl in the high school who was very promiscuous pushed me up against the wall in front of all the guys, all the enemies, and she slapped me around and made me cry. And I just came out of group homes, Like I just was kidnapped and fled the country, and then I came back. My parents went to jail, and I just got out of group homes, and I'm back with my family. Finally, the courts let me home. And even the girls were beating me up. Even the girls were making my enemies laugh. Where was I gonna go? If I only knew back then how much God was for me, how much He wanted to support me, and how much He loved me, I wouldn't have made all those bad choices. And I wouldn't have screwed up my life as bad as I did. I got to a point where I had to make fun of myself just to survive. People would make fun of me. I just make fun of myself worse. And they didn't know what to do. That's how I conquered it. I'm not going to lie. I gained a lot of good sense of humor from it, but I didn't deserve that, and neither did anyone else. If you've been picked on, if you've been beat up and spit on and rejected and cast aside, I know what that's like, and it sucks. But you know what? In the end, God's going to win anyway, no matter what happens. And I've come very far. And I want you to know that God loves you no matter what you go through. No matter what anyone says, No matter even what you do, you could be the biggest sinner in the world, and God will love you anyway. I'm still trying to find my way too, eh? And it's hard to give my testimony because I've suffered so much. And I have a lot of regret. Well, I don't have any regret now, but I do look back and wish I could have changed things, you know? Bottom line, right now, in this moment, you can change everything. You don't have to listen to your friends. You don't have to listen to society. You listen to God, and you work on yourself and your life. And know that God's got your back as long as you're doing the right thing. And that doesn't mean you can sin and say you were trying to do the right thing. It doesn't work that way. You have to do the ultimate right thing if you really want to be on key with God. Let me think. I ended up getting tortured by demons really bad for 5 years, and it was like all the time they were torturing me, you know, telling me I was going to burn in hell and that there was no hope for me, and I was the most pitiful, disgusting thing on the earth. Like, I was the worst human being to ever walk the earth, and there was no forgiveness for me, and it was a hard time, man. Real hard time. And eventually, I met a guy who betrayed me in the end, but I met a Christian guy who brought me to church and helped me get saved. He loved me a lot. For a long time, I had his love. But in the end, because I couldn't measure up to his standard, he ended up condemning me and abusing me and telling me I was going to burn in hell and there was no hope for me. I mean, he even got into an accident. I'm not going to tell you how he got hurt, but he got hurt really bad and he was in the hospital. And I went to see him, trying to show him that even though I've made mistakes maybe in our friendship, that I was still willing to come see him and put that aside. And even then he condemned me and told me I was going to burn in the lake of fire. And I already had been tortured for 5, 6 years with that. And then even a Christian man condemned me. You know what? At the end of it all, I realized I couldn't trust nobody, not in the world today. And that the only person I could trust is God, because ultimately he's going to do the best he can to make the best outcome happen. You know, people fail you. Men, women, mothers, fathers, leaders, pastors. There's going to be people who are going to fail you. And they're not going to set you the right way. And they may give up on you or hate on you or, you know. I mean, if you're trying to do what's right and you're trying to do what your best, it's not fair. And they have no right to do that. They should understand you're doing your best. And that's not fair to anybody. If you're doing your best, it's not fair for someone to come down on someone, you know? Anyway, I finally found God. God started speaking to me and ministering to me. And I had a lot of crazy times with God. I am telling you the craziest stuff I've experienced with God, at the hand of God and Jesus. And it became so real to me, the truth and the reality that God is real and that Jesus is actually the Son of God, that it changed the way I functioned as a person. And I don't know, man, even though that Christian gave up on me and condemned me, I couldn't believe that God would condemn me. I don't know. I just like, why would God go through all of that? Bringing me to church, helping me, molding me, you know, all that, all the stuff he went through, all the experiences I had with him, and all the miracles, all the crazy stuff. Why would I go through all of that to go to hell? That's when I started realizing that this guy that condemned me, he must not understand certain things about, like, why, like, God wouldn't do that in vain. You know, it says in the Bible, God won't start a work in you without finishing it. Like, he's going to finish the work he started in you. So I think because of his human frailty, the guy that condemned me, he lost hope in me and maybe in his self, because he couldn't make me perfect, I guess. And, it hurt a lot. Like, I really loved this guy. He was my best friend. We did everything with each other. We went swimming. We went out to eat. We sat at the lake and had amazing times. And it sucks that it went that way. I really actually loved the guy, even though I wasn't enough for him, but I tried to love him the best I could. And yeah. So bottom line, guys, God's real, number one. Number two, people will fail you. People will hurt you. They'll step all over you and crush you into sand. But number three, you have an eternity waiting for you. And there's nothing anyone, any teacher, any pastor, any enemy can do to take that away from you. That will never leave your hands. But you have to do what's right. You don't have to be perfect. Come to God the way you are, man. Say, listen, God, like when I came to God, I was like, God, because I got rejected so much from women in my youth, it's hard for me to say no to sex, and it's hard for me not to want to kiss a girl that likes me. I have a problem with that. And I like to drink beers and go to karaoke. That's what I said. I said, those are going to be my two biggest issues when it comes to following you. And I started there. I was honest from my heart. I didn't hide nothing. I didn't try to lie. And my relationship with God developed from there. And that's what you have to do. You have to come clean with God. Say, God, these are my issues. These are the ones that are going to be very hard for me to stop. The other issues I can stop. But I just want to be honest with you, and we'll start on this journey together with God and everything. And that's what you got to do. At the end of the day, that's what you got to do. At the end of the day, it's just you and God. No one else. God bless you. Thank you for watching.